Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, and thank you all for joining today. For some of you it's morning, for some of you it's evening, or for some of you it's night, like in New Zealand right now, where it's pretty close to midnight. We thank you all for your interest, and we have rolled out a star-studded team for you today. Pretty much everyone who works in our office is here today. It's Mandy and Deetha being in the front. Connie handles the slides in the background. Our newest recruit, Rebecca, will be somewhere here. And we have, most importantly, Faye and Vidya, who will join us to talk about their experiences as students. And the intent today is to make sure that you make the right decision. Not necessarily the easiest decision, but the right decision to set yourself up for control over your career, for being able to then qualify for important roles in the future. For some of you, that may mean coming to New Zealand and being here as a person who works and ultimately has residence. But the most important part is that we give you something as an offer here that adds very well to wherever you come from, whatever degrees you hold, what qualifications you have completed. The MBA, the executive MBA, what we offer here are programs that seamlessly add value to what you have done before. Very well known in New Zealand. Employers understand the qualification. And of course, you study in fabulous New Zealand where it's safe, it's clean. We have many more sheep than people. They don't come to school, but they're happy out there jumping around. And it is a great lifestyle in a country where the unemployment rate is so low that we are screaming out for people. We have a general shortage everywhere, in some sectors more than others. And we want you to decide whether this is a great place to come to, a place where you want to contribute and where you want to be able to make your mark, grow, develop skills, and make a great contribution. On that happy note, I will turn it over to my colleague, Mandy.
Hi there, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. As Jens has said, we're just going to talk to you a little bit about what the MASSEY experience is. Flexibility is really important to us because we want you to have the best experience while you study with us. And practical learning is really important, more like being at work than being at school. And one of the great things about the study you'll do with us is that we'll give you work experience. We will place you in some businesses and you will be able to have New Zealand work experience if you come to study with us full-time in New Zealand on your CV, and that's really helpful as you progress on with your career. Networking, not just with the business leaders that we'll have coming into your class, but also to the companies that you visit. And you'll also find out more about the markets that we work in here in New Zealand. But you'll also have an opportunity to talk to our pracademics. Now, pracademics are academics who work in the industry. So they are people who know a lot about what's happening around in those topics that we are teaching you. And of course, you will also network with other MBA students. We have social events with our online students. There will be other full-time classes following on behind you. And we also have events with our executive MBA students. And we are obviously globally recognised. And MASSEY Business School actually is in the top 2% of business schools in the world. So you can have confidence in some of the learning that you'll have with us. And on the next slide, we talk about the 5 C's that our MBA will give you. And capability is all around knowing more. And capacity is around being able to do more. And then, of course, there's confidence that you'll be able to try other things. You'll have the confidence to go out, maybe move away from the industry that you've been working in or the skill set that you've had and try something new. And of course, those connections are going to be really important, especially those ones in New Zealand. If you're looking for a job, you are going to be able to use those connections much better and more wisely. And of course, there's the courage just to go out and give it a go, have a try. And we're going to give you new tools for that toolbox of yours and the confidence to use them. On the next slide, we're just having a look. You want to know whether we've got any value, and the value comes from being globally recognised. And that is the accreditations we have are stamps of quality. So AACSB is an American elite school accreditation that we have, and AMBA is the Association of MBAs, and that's known worldwide. And a future employer, especially one not in New Zealand, might not know who we are as Massey University, but they will know AACSB and AMBA, and they'll know that you've got a quality education from us. Okay, on the next one, you'll be interested in rankings. And rankings, QS rank the schools that we draw our academics from. So you can see your top 100, top 200, top 300, and there are 1,000 schools that QS look at. So you can see that we really do draw from some really, great schools. They're Massey business schools. It's a bit confusing how we work that, but the CEO magazine is also another ranking that we participate in, and we're in their first tier, tier 1, and our online MBA is ranked number 17. We don't actually put the documents in for our full-time at the moment, but so that's why that is not there. Right, on the next one, please, is all around the 2 MBAs that we offer, and you're going to look at me and go, hang on a minute, there are 3 there. Yes, I can count. The first one is the Executive MBA, and then the second 2 are the same program. The MBA taught full-time and the MBA taught online. Same program, just taught in different modes. Very briefly, Executive MBA will be available to international students from 2023, but it is a longer program. It takes about 2 years to complete. You do need a lot more work experience and management experience. If you are interested in that, you need to contact us and we'll be able to give you the information. We're going to concentrate tonight on the full-time and the online MBA so that you can get some good detail about that. Now, the full-time MBA is a very immersive program. It's really concentrated learning. It's based here in Auckland, which is the largest city in New Zealand. So there's lots of opportunity for working here, but also outside as well, of course. And you'll come into campus on a Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. And each of our courses are only 7 weeks long, so they are really punchy. We are going to teach you a lot in that period of time, but then you just move on to the next lot. Now, with our online MBA, the material's available 24/7. So you can use any device that you have when you're on the train or the bus going to work. You can look at your phone and do a little bit of work, and you can come and go as you please with that kind of learning. It's on a world recognized platform. So it's not just a standard platform of learning. It's really interactive. It's very engaging and it's heaps of fun to use. So this isn't right for you. So where do you sit in your career journey at the moment? Are you an emerging or a mid-level manager? Are you a specialist wanting to be a generalist? Anyone who's moving up to those higher level jobs know that you may be an engineer and then they ask you, what do you know about HR or what do you know about finance? That's what we mean about becoming a generalist. We like people to move up and learn more about the business as they start to grow in their career. So we have people in our class who are from all kinds of businesses. They work for government, they work for not-for-profits, they're in small businesses and very large businesses. Our students also come from all over the world. Currently in our full-time program, we've got people from the UAE, from China, Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, India, and Singapore. And then for our online program, we have them from an even wider range of places because you can study anywhere with us at any time. You see, you need a degree with a B- average. 3 years work experience is one of the non-negotiables. The B- average and the English language are both important, but there is a little bit of flexibility in there. If you don't quite meet it, then talk to us and we might be able to help you with that. All right, on the next one, we're just going to talk about how long it takes. So full-time is only 1 year. You can do the whole MBA in just 1 year here in New Zealand. If you want to do it online, you can do it a little bit faster, 18 months. Most people take 2 years, but you've got the flexibility of taking up to 5 years. The executive MBA is 15 months, and then there's a project afterwards, which takes you up to nearly the 2-year mark. Who's in the room with you while you're learning? You can see there about the numbers, relatively small classes. That picture there is some of our international full-time students when they went to visit Synlait, which is a milk processing plant just south of Auckland there. So at this point now, I'm going to hand you over to Ditha.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mandy. I'm sure you've all done your research as to why you should do an MBA program. And the main reason you may have seen is the confidence you gain when you are making those important business decisions as you're studying your MBA program. We do our research as well, and we do that when we are designing and structuring the MBA program here at Massey University. One of the main points that we have looked at is the jobs that you would be looking at after you've completed your MBA. And LinkedIn tells us that recruiters are looking for roles like operations manager, account executives, business development executives, HR managers, and product managers, senior consultants, all with skills from after that you gain from an MBA program. But let me tell you about 6 reasons why you should do your MBA with Massey University. Reason number 1 is the extensive industry-based concepts and knowledge. And this can be seen with the 10 courses that we've designed for the program. We have relatable content, making learning easy for you, and relevant content, making it easy for you to apply this knowledge right into your job as you're studying with us, as well as after you've completed your MBA program with us. Reason number 2 is the care we take in your success. And this is seen through the specializations that we offer you as you do your MBA program here. We are the only MBA in New Zealand that offer an opportunity for you to specialize in an area as you're doing your MBA with Massey University. Reason number 3 is the opportunity to put learning to practice. And that really comes with your Part 2 courses, where we create an environment of absolute applied learning. And that can be seen where we offer you case studies to work on real-world business problems, but we also offer you the opportunity to connect with an organization and do some hands-on work with these organizations. And that can be seen with your action learning project that comes right at the end of your program. Reason number 4 is the constant connect with the local and global markets. And all of this is done in just 1 year of doing your MBA program. So that means that you get back into the market and get that job easier and quicker after you've completed the 1-year MBA program. We are also invested in your success, giving you the opportunity to network. That means meeting people with expertise from the local and global markets, and understanding directly from these people of what they want from employees and how you can give that to them. And then reason number 6 is the globally competitive standards that we meet as you're going through the MBA. Now, this comes with technology, interactive content that we have available to you. As an online MBA student, you do interact with the content online even more, and we try to make that more fun and more interactive for you so you can really gain from this content. Now, in addition to that, like Mandy said, we've got so many alumni and current students who like to share their point of view with you. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight. However, they were kind enough to share some of their points here, and we would like to share those with you. I'm just going to give you a moment now to read some of the testimonials that the students have shared. just to summarize, these bubbles really talk to us about the feedback that we get from our students, and they talking to us about the return of investment that they almost had really quickly after they've completed the MBA, and a good return of investments. As per our research, again, you get a return of investments almost immediately within 1 year of completing the MBA. And Mandy's going to talk to you about how that comes through with the roles that you do. So with the international full-time MBA, that's 55,000 New Zealand dollars. Now, this includes the insurance that you need as part of your student visa, as well as this includes your non-tuition fees. So that's the full program fees that you see there. That also includes your texts and your study material. For your international online MBA, which is while you're offshore, it's 47,800 New Zealand dollars. And for your executive MBA in 2023 as an international student, that's $70,500. Now, again, that's for the full program. And like I said, this includes all of your reading material and everything that you need to successfully complete the program. Now, we're so confident in the MBA that we would like to also invest in your future. And that comes through the MBA awards that we have available. We assess this automatically at the time of your application. And there are 3 awards of $2,000 each. And they're for 3 different criteria. One is an A- in your highest level bachelor's courses. The other is 5+ years of relevant work experience. And the third is if you've got an existing master's degree. And this is accumulative, which means you can get up to 6,000 New Zealand dollars adjusted against your tuition fees. So that's really the confidence and the care that we take in your success. And we continue to do this through the program, and that can be seen with awards that we offer through the program, like the Professor Jens Mueller Outstanding Full-Time Student Prize, the Wiley Outstanding Online Student Prize as well, that's offered to you. In addition to this, you also have scholarships that you can apply for before and during your study with us at Massey University. For more details, please email us and we will be able to share that with you. For now, I think we're going to move on and give you another perspective of our program, and that's with our lovely students sharing their journey and their experience with you. 2 of our students have kindly donated their time this evening to talk to you about their experience. Vidya Nair, who started with us very recently in July 2022. So she's really got the, her decision making and the reasons why she chose Massey University fresh in her mind. She's here today to share her experience with you. Over to you, Vidya.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tita. I'm Vidya and I'm from India. I'm a PR and HR professional and I have about 10 years of experience in my field. As Tita mentioned, I'm a new student who joined this course in the month of July. I also happen to be one of the few people who is enrolled as a full-time student. So for all of you who are wondering what that entails, it entails that I'm right now studying on the country, and I shall hopefully, once my visa process goes through, step on campus in the month of November. And it also means that I'm doing 2 courses currently, because before I step in, I will be completing my 4 courses, which are mandatory. And for all of you who are wondering why I chose to do MBA at such a period of time, it is because after working in my field for 10 years, I thought I was at a place in my career and professional life where I wanted to transition into higher management roles. And what best way than to upskill yourself with an MBA? Because I feel what I studied, say, 10, 12 years back, does not feel that appropriate in today's world, because the theories, the practices have all evolved, and so should I. And the best way to do it is when you join a course where you have wonderful set of lecturers from the field teaching you, guiding you. And more than that, why an MBA from MASSEY, apart from everything that Dita and Mandy have already mentioned, I think what I really, really appreciate is the assistance, guidance, and all the help that I have received from the staff, as well as the wonderful perspective that I have been able to gain in these 2 months from my wonderful cohorts. I have people in my class from all over the world, like Dita mentioned, and it's a nice way to broaden your horizons, your perspectives when you're working in one cultural background is very restricted. But when you meet people from different backgrounds, from different countries who come with different work ethics, your perspectives, your practices, your own personalities go through a lot of change and change for the better. So I feel that an MBA, and especially at MASSEY, will be very helpful.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Vidya. Would you like to talk to us a little bit about how you've handled the full-time study of doing 2 courses at the same time? Just some bit about time management, please.
Yes. Actually, I'm also currently working, but I decided to start working remotely because the 2 courses which I'm doing, they are spread over the week, where I have 2 hours classes every week for one particular subject. But apart from the online interactions, we are also busy with group discussions, group assessments, and team assessments, so which requires us to be constantly in touch with our classmates for completing those assessments. We have essays, we have assessments wherein we are writing exams, not in the sense that of writing for 3 hours, but you have on-the-spot test, if I could say.
Excellent. I'm sure that there's a learning curve. So I'm glad that thank you so much for sharing that, and we appreciate that. But for now, we're just going to move on to our second student who's been kind enough to join us this evening, and that's Faye. Faye started her MBA with us in March 2021, taking advantage of the flexibility that we offer students with our Step In. She started online while she was offshore, while the world was managing COVID. She managed to get her MBA underway and interact with the content right while she was away. And she's actually going to come here really soon in October to start the rest of her program with us. Over to you, Faye.
Thank you, Dita. Thank you so much. First of all, hello and good afternoon from sunny Abu Dhabi. I am Faye. I am originally Indian, but I've been residing in the UAE for the past 23 years, all of which has been in Abu Dhabi itself. I started the MBA program during COVID. Currently, I'm working in the education sector, and my prior experience is in HR. My previous master's was in arts and human resources. Before I go into further, I would just like to applaud all of you guys and say congratulations for actually considering in investing in yourselves and considering the MASSEY University. I couldn't recommend MASSEY enough. As Dita and Vidya mentioned, the program content is tight, but so thorough, so well-versed with current time. It just makes such a phenomenal difference when you can actually apply theory to practice. We initially started with online studies through our group, and that for me is my biggest strength, my group, my study group. And likewise for you, also your study group will be your first go-to in case of need. My group members are from different industries, different nationalities, based in different parts of the world. So we've got Russia, Malaysia, Jordan, Singapore, and myself based out here. There is immense support from the professors. Professor Jens, academic coordination, Dita and Mandy are on the pulse. Other departments the library, social Zoom, etc. It's phenomenal. My experience, I'm extremely content that I took this decision to upskill and push myself further. I've been pushed out of my comfort zone, which initially was a bit intimidating, but the knowledge and experience I've obtained is just phenomenal. In fact, in my current role as a section head, I'm actually able to apply theory to practice. I'm looking forward now to start off with the action learning project, which is at the end of the program, and then moving on to campus and starting a whole new chapter in Auckland. If you have any queries, please feel free to reach out. I'm available on LinkedIn. Post your messages on the chat and I can answer. Good luck.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Faye. I think it's always such an interesting side to see the students' perspective of the program. So really appreciate both Vidya and you spending your time this evening.
Thank you, Vidya.
We have our pracademic as well here this evening, and Professor Jens Müller also teaches on the MBA. He teaches the the global business specialization and facilitates the action learning project courses on the MBA. And he's here today to share the academic side of the program. Over to you, Jens.
Thanks, Deetha, and thanks for all of you staying around with this much information that was raining down on you over the past half hour. This is a lot of stuff to take in, and there probably are a few questions that form in your mind. One is, will I be able to pass this? Is this something that I can do? No one wants to spend the money and then embarrass themselves. So this program is designed for people who have never been in business as such and don't have an undergraduate qualification in business. Any qualification is acceptable. We will train you up so that you understand business and that in many cases you may have a technical, a professional career in health and engineering and architecture and education. Those are narrow qualifications that usually only allow you to work in that sector. That's not a smart move if you don't know where the world will turn over the next 40 years of your work. And having an MBA makes you much broader acceptable. You have a wider range of job choices. And if I for a moment speak as an immigration advisor in New Zealand, residence in New Zealand comes from having a skilled job. That adds a lot of points. And that means that the end of the program, when you look around for jobs, should be one where you are inundated, where you will have great choices of jobs. And in New Zealand right now, you do. We need people, but we also need people who are flexible, who can work in small companies. Many firms in New Zealand have fewer than 25 people. They pay good money. They have good career options, but in a small firm, everyone does more than one thing. We don't need specialists that are super specialized. We only have 6 companies in the whole country of New Zealand with more than 7,000 staff. So it is a country of small, mid-sized firms. There, every shoulder goes to the wheel. Everybody does more than one thing. You have to be flexible with a broad set of skills. The reason why our MBAs get jobs usually very, very early after they finish studying is that this is a course that is very practical. You all in your undergraduate degree had courses where somebody read from a book, you were writing it all down, then they had an exam, you had to give it all back, and then it was over and you sweated a lot and you learned very little. This program is one that is much more like a management team meeting with the chairman of the board rather than students with professors. In every course, there will be several practitioners, leaders of companies from around New Zealand who will come and teach you as part of the course. We have no courses, but we just have an academic. We have no exams. We have practical assessments in each course, consulting reports, case studies, things that make you knowledgeable in how management works, so that when you finish your program, you are ready to work. And the last thing is Auckland the right place for you? And Auckland is the place in New Zealand where 40% of all the jobs in New Zealand countrywide are. That's where you make good network connections. That's where you learn how business works in New Zealand. Because remember, as part of your studies, you can work 20 hours a week, part-time. That means that you can network, you can showcase yourself to, I guess, the potential employers. And quite often from the internships, the management internships that you do, comes a full-time job. So when you look at an MBA, it is a starting point to a career, to a series of visas: study visa, post-study work visa, residence visa. It moves a train into the right direction for you. And we are the engine that will pull you along and make sure that you arrive at that destination where you want to be in New Zealand, and you want to be a management team member, making good money, making your family proud, and knowing that you're doing a good job. With that, I'll hand it back to Mandy.
Thanks very much, Jens. The next thing I want to talk about very briefly is the support that we offer here at MASSEY. So we have the MASSEY support and the MBA support. I'm just going to talk about three of the ones that are listed on here today. The first one is the Mental Gym, which is under the MBA office, third one down. The Mental Gym is a program that we provide where we help you before you start to come onto your study. So you'll be able to hear a little bit about some of the courses. We'll talk about scholarships. We'll talk about preparing for study. They're all, you can come if you want. You don't have to, but it's actually a great way to connect with other people and learn as you go. The next one is under the MASSEY heading. That's the Centre of Teaching and Learning. Now, that group of people have the most amazing resources and skills, but one of the things that we like to recommend our students do is you can put your assignment into the Centre of Teaching and Learning. They will critique it for you, come back with some suggestions, and then you can change the way you've done your assessment and then put it in for marking. So it gives you some really good feedback about what you're not quite getting right. And the last one is the Career Accelerator, which is again under the MBA office. The MBA, we run our own series of workshops around the Career Accelerator. Some of them are around personal branding. They're around how you prepare an executive CV and how you interview techniques for those executive type programs. So those are three that I just wanted to highlight for you today. On the next slide, okay, what are you going to do next? Are you going to actually pop your application in with us? And if you do want to do that, there's a QR code that you can start straight away, or you can take a photo of it and save it. We will have the information about all of the documents you need to provide, but there's a little list there of what's outside of the standard. One of the hardest things that you will do is actually make that decision to decide to study. Now, whether it's with us or with someone else, it's often a really big step. So you have done the right thing by coming along to find out more information, but really the next step is you've got absolutely nothing to lose to make that application. And Ditha and I are here, and Jens are here to help you with that. On the next slide, there is the email address. It's mba@massey.ac.nz, and that comes through to us and we can answer any of your questions, the ones of course that we're not going to answer right now. And then there's also going to be some Calendly links on the document that we're going to post, but Ditha's one is up there and Jens's one and my one will be there as well. I'm going to hand over to Ditha now. We're going to start working through all of those questions that you've been popping up on the chat.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mandy. And yes, you're right. There's some excellent questions that you've asked here. So thank you so much for them. I've just kind of categorized them so we could answer some of them under broader categories. One that I've seen has been about the fees for the MBA program. So I'm just going to repeat that. The fees for the MBA full-time 1-year program on campus, the full program fees is 55,000 New Zealand dollars, and that includes insurance and non-tuition fees and your text and reading material that you require. So there's also a question about English, which I'm just going to quickly run through what we accept. So we do accept academic IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge English, and then we've also got the PTE that we accept. In addition to that, there are also pathways that you can take for English if you like. For more information, please email us and we'll be happy to get back to you as per your specific pathways that you need. Just before we get into the questions, we're happy to go case by case and to talk to you about specific requirements, and which we can do in breakout rooms that we're going to open at the end of the session, but we can also do via email if you would like to email your questions out to us. Another category that I saw was more about the backgrounds that you come from, and I think Professor Jens would be the right person to answer these questions, just in terms of how much a background of a student makes a difference in terms of academic side of the MBA, Jens.
It doesn't really make a big difference, because what we're looking for are people who can learn. And most of you, through your undergraduate qualification, are perfect learners. You were beaten up to learn the most you can. And that's what we want, the ability to learn something new. What you get from us is packaged in a way that it fits everyone, even if you do not have a business background. And nearly everyone, well, not everyone, probably 70% of people that come to the MBA do not have a business qualification. They have qualifications in other sectors, like IT, for instance, a specialization where you can very, very easily be so narrow that only very few companies would ever hire you. With an MBA on top, you are much broader. You may still work in IT, but as a manager, as a leader, therefore many more choices. So our program is designed to get you into work, to get you a skilled job. Skilled jobs in New Zealand have the right points to get you residence.
Excellent. Thank you. While I have you there, Jens, would you be able to answer another question for me, please? How big is the agenda? How big is the sustainability agenda in the MBA program?
Sustainability in New Zealand is a big topic. We were one of the front runners in New Zealand in terms of looking at sustainability. We have 45 to 50% of our energy from renewables, geothermal and hydropower. We're about the only country where you can have electric cars that you don't have to power through a coal plant. So it is a country where sustainability is important, because we are an agricultural exporter. We export 98% of the food that we produce in New Zealand. Good income for us, but also it means that we have to be respectful, caring, and quite intelligent about how we use land and resources. And sustainability is a part of pretty much every course in the MBA.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jens. Mandy, there's a question about the entry requirements for the MBA program. Would you be able to elaborate on that, please?
Sure. So the main entry requirement for the MBA is that you must have 3 years of work experience at least, and most of our students have substantially more than that. Then we want you to have a degree. If you don't have a degree, you need to talk to us, because we're going to have to look to get special permission for you to enter. We do like people to have a degree, and the MBA does require a B- average. So again, if you didn't manage a B- average and you studied a long time ago, then come talk to us and we can see what we can do. And then beside that, we are looking for people, we're looking for, as Yen said, people who can learn, people who are wanting to try something new, do something, different, to put their energy into their study, because they make really good group work people. And so, just try contacting us. And, it costs you nothing to make an application with us, and we will certainly give you feedback. If you're not acceptable to us, we will find something for you at MASSEY if that's what you would like to do.
Jens, just changing your hat again to your licensed immigration advisor hat. There's questions here about dependent visas and visas that you need to, apply for as a student here. Would you be able to advise on that, please?
Absolutely. So when you do a level 9 qualification in New Zealand, 180 credits like this master's, you are entitled to bring your family with you. That includes partner, only one partner, and children. You will then be able to get student visas for your children, and your partner will get an open work visa if you come for the November intake. In the February intake, the rules will change, and your partner will not automatically get an open work visa, but would have to apply for one. So it's a little easier in November. You would then, when you come as a student, have a student visa with you allowed to work 20 hours a week. That usually pays for one person's kind of transportation, food, and housing quite easily in New Zealand. But it's also important that you learn how work works and to profile you for references. And then after that, you get a post-study work visa that is an open work visa that the government has announced will happen again for the November intake and further. Any job, any employer, anywhere in the country. And as soon as during that time, day 1, day 10, day 300, you get a skilled job, then you would have, in most cases, enough points to apply for residence right away. New Zealand is quite boring how it moves from studying to work to residence. It's a pretty simple train. We don't have quotas like in Canada. We don't have the impossibility of ever getting residence like in Australia. It is quite straightforward. We are a country of only 5 million people, the size of California. We need people, and we want good people. So level 9, the MBA, gives you all the choices you have.
Sorry, thank you, Jens. Just changing your head back. From an academic point of view, can you talk about the assessments and the expectations an academic has in terms of the assessments to do?
That's a really good question. Most people looking at where you're from the first quiz we did, would have grown up in an environment where the tests or exams at the end of the semester or at the end of the year, you get sent in a room with a pencil and a piece of paper, and you have to sweat for 2 hours and regurgitate everything. We don't do that. We are highly accredited globally, and we use a teaching model that is practical and applied. That means that we do tests after each course, even during the course. The course is usually about 6-7 weeks. So you would probably at week 3 have a test, maybe at week 5. And then there's usually one group event, one group session that you have as assessments. The assessments are all practical. They're all applied. They are consulting reviews. There are case studies, groups going out and finding solutions for problems for companies. Very practical. Relatively easy to do for those of you that have some work experience. That's why we want the work experience, because you know how to get things done. No exams and nothing that is academic as such. You don't do any research writing. This is not a research course.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jens. There's a question here about business sustainability and the specialization that we have there. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what that is, for business sustainability, you have two courses that you do, and one is risk and innovation, managing risk and innovation, and the other one is business sustainability. The specialization really deals with managing risk, the tools that you need to manage risk, and then to look at creating an innovative environment, as well as looking at your businesses long term. There is some inclusion of COVID and how businesses are tackling and working around COVID as well, that is discussed in that specialization. Do you have anything to add? I know this is not your specialization, Tyler, Jens, but do you have anything to add for this?
Look, it's very simple. Each of the specializations is designed to give you a broad range of job choices. Clearly, business sustainability affects any business. Clearly, global business is important in New Zealand because we are an export country of all of our food. We are an import country of everything manufactured. No car was ever built in New Zealand, no sweater made, no houses built with materials that are all grown here. We bring everything in. Global trade is essential. And then, of course, having the ability to look at digital disruption, but also not just disruption, but using digital tools to be effective applies everywhere. An MBA typically does not have specializations because it's intended to be a more general, more bland course that is, I guess, supposed to fit everywhere. We added some specializations. You don't have to take them. You can just do a normal MBA, costs the same, takes the same time. But we thought that it is nice to stand out. And those three specializations are important in terms of having commercial value. Employers like them. They want to see that you have learned how to contribute value to their firm.
But just before we go, Jens, would you be able to talk a little bit about the payments? I believe that is an immigration requirement to pay the full fees.
Yep. Look, we will take your money either way, but the government has told us that we must have you pay 1 year in advance. So you don't get a visa otherwise. So the way it works is you apply for your visa. You then get told you fit the requirements, you will get a visa. Now show us that you paid. You always have to pay in New Zealand 1 year in advance. In a program that is just 1 year, like the MBA, you pay the whole thing in advance. It's 1 year. For the EMBA, which is 2 years, you pay 1/2 in the first year, 1/2 in the second year, but of course, the total amount is much more expensive. It's a 240 credit qualification, not just 180. So when you, for your visa application, look at the money that you need to show that you have the tuition money, and that has to have been under your control or a sponsor, your family, for at least 6 months. Can't come out of the mattress and suddenly appears in an account. It has to be visible for 6 months, so it's real money. Then what you need to do is show for 1 year of study, $20,000 for your living cost. You don't have to bring that money to New Zealand normally, because with your 20 hours of work that you do every week, you will be able to earn most or all of your living cost. Depends on how much you eat. So you would end up being able to not bring all that money because you can kind of show it, leave it at home, bring a couple of $1,000s until you find your first part-time job. Part-time jobs in New Zealand, especially in university towns, are totally normal. And it is important for you to know that we don't teach throughout the daytime. We teach only Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 p.m. in the afternoon till 7, so that you have time during the day, all day Monday and Friday, mornings, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to work in an office. We don't want you to do your 20 hours of work at the gas station washing windows on a Sunday night. Brings good money, but not good learnings. So we want you to work in an office so that you learn how to work, your managers see what you can do, and quite often a permanent job comes from that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jens. And with that, I would ask you to continue with the official close for this evening. And like I said, we'll have breakout rooms after that. Over to you again, Jens.
Thank you very much all for joining. When you're here, when you spend an hour with us talking about this, it means that you had little voices in your head for quite a while. And the little voices probably told you the next 30 years, you can't just rely on what you have. You have to do something more to get good jobs during that time. And that's why you're here. In the olden days, your fathers, your mothers, my parents could very well get good jobs without any high school. Maybe certainly not with university, but that's not a choice for you. The good jobs are all jobs that require a master's, a good qualification, and that means that you really don't have much choice. If you want to have a great future, you have to do it, and we offer you to do it in 1 year, short and sharp, practical specializations, lots of support from the school to get in a job. And we look forward to seeing all of you at MASSEY when you have made the decision to come to us. We have the only program in New Zealand with a licensed immigration advisor on staff so that we can help you understand what the rules are, and we absolutely welcome you to New Zealand.